That's the sound of me scratching my beard. Hello and welcome to day 40 of the Non-Essential Podcast. I'm so excited, just 2 more days until we're fucking out of here. Not out of lockdown like we were supposed to be in a couple of days, but I'm out of here. I'm stopping this on Sunday. 2 more episodes after this, and then I'm fucking done. September 11 it is today. And, I think everybody stops for a second to think about, the attacks on the World Trade Center on this date. It's one of those things where it's, of all of the, where were you when, of all of the where were you whens, it's the one that I think most people can kind of really put their finger accurately on the pulse of where they were. I remember where I was. I was at home. I was in bed. I was 17 years old, and it was a Tuesday night, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm reasonably sure it was. Excuse me. Getting a bit of a phlegm build up now, and I was laying in bed watching TV, watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as I used to do on a Tuesday night, from 10:30 to 11:30 Tuesday nights on Channel 7 it was, and I changed the channels during an ad break, right, and when I say right, I mean like really kind of right at the time the second plane hit the other tower. Did they hit both towers, or did they just hit one? I can't remember. I'm gonna lay down and watch a bunch of 9/11 documentaries after this, probably. But no, I think they hit both of them, didn't they? Anyway, one plane had already hit because I turned the channel, and one of the buildings is kind of the smoke coming from it, and then boom, the second plane hits, and my first thought was like, wow, look at what movie is this? Look at the special effects on this fucking movie. This is wild. How real does that look? And it probably took about a minute or so before I realized, hang on, this is what's going on here. This is real. Because I don't think that there was any sort of reporters or anything like that talking at the time. I think it was just sort of footage and sort of live video of everything. And then I switched to all the other channels and saw that every channel was kind of broadcasting this whole thing going down. But you've got to really give like a shout out to Channel 7 at a time like this. Like a lot of people, a shout out to Channel 7 for just sticking to their guns and sort of saying to themselves, look, we see that something major is going on here in New York City. We have multiple televisions in our fucking offices that broadcast live feeds from all the other channels in Australia and all of our sort of competitors and affiliates in the world. But damn it, we're not going to switch over to our affiliates, NBC in America, until Buffy has finished. Sometimes in life, people, you got to stick to your guns. And so shout out to Channel 7 for doing that. Not letting one of the major world events in the history of humanity, not letting that play out live until Buffy had finished, until we found out whether Buffy was going to go with Angel or with Spike. And so I'll never forget that. I'll never forget how every channel, literally, I think even Channel 31 that's I think it was about an hour and a half before they switched over to Fish Cam, which is the videos of just fish swimming in a tank for most of the night. Yeah, I think even 31 was playing some fucking footage of it. So I just thought that was hilarious. To this day, I still think that that's hilarious how Channel 7 just did not interrupt their regular broadcasting to go to this major event. We had to wait until Buffy the Vampire Slayer, starring Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy, was done with, you know. I don't remember the episode of Buffy that was on, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't a repeat. I'm pretty sure it was, you know, I'm pretty sure it was, you know, sort of episode whatever of that season being broadcast for the first time. So yeah, that's where I was. I was because it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night when this was all unfolding. So, which would have made it around about 7 a.m. I think in New York. So yeah, that's where I was on September 11, 2001, when the attacks on the World Trade Center happened. I was in bed watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Turned the channel over to Channel 9 or something and thought it was a movie I was watching, and then flicked through all the other channels and realised it wasn't a movie, it was real life. What a wild time though. I remember going to school the next day, and it was obviously like the hot topic of conversation, and it was one of those things where you're like, fuck, like how is the world going to be tomorrow when we all wake up? Is this the beginning of the end? Are we now at war, or what's going on? You know. And of course, I think it was shortly after the attacks themselves that Osama bin Laden and all of his cronies sort of, you know, took credit for it, I think. And yeah, so I mean, there was a part of me that was thinking that it was just going to be all-out war in the streets all around the world. I went to a high school that was probably like, man, I would even say the majority of the students there were of the Muslim faith, and like part of me was like, fuck, is there gonna be like a war between like fucking, you know, Aussies and all of these, you know, white Christian Aussies or whatever, of which there weren't many. There was me and Maddie Haining, and and that was about it. And so yeah, I mean, there was a part of you that's like, fuck, if it's just going to be all-out war in the streets, am I going to school tomorrow like fucking having to throw down and shit, or what? It was a scary time. Scary time, but fortunately everything was good at school. Like I said, it was the hot topic of conversation, as it was everywhere in the world. But everyone was cool with each other, and yeah, that's probably one of the great things about living in Australia, is how we do all get along. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there's certainly other parts of the world where that are similar to Australia, and the US is going through it right now, where they're not always very kind to each other. So, God bless America, they say, and whoever you believe in, whoever your God is, bless, or I don't know much about religions, if bless is the right word for every other religion, but whoever blessed this country, you know, the lucky country, Australia. Just going to take a sip of my cola. Hang on, I'm getting a bit sort of, what would you say, salivary. Still having a lot of troubles with my throat, which is probably caused by drinking a lot of this shit. Don't know what's going on. I'm very worried about it. That's also one of the things that I'm going to do straight away. I mean, if you've been listening regularly, you'll know that I've had these issues for coming up to 3 years. And I've said it before, you know, I've had the camera up my nose, down my throat, by 2 different people. And they both gave me the all clear, but all I know is my throat does not feel normal. It's not the same as it felt for 33 years of my life before 3 years ago. So it's one thing that I really want to get sorted out and fucking know what the fuck I'm dealing with, because it's really shitting me. I got and I'll probably do this when this is all over. Like when I had the camera check everything out, the two guys that did the camera work, the cameramen. I'm not sure what their what's their, like, whatever a throat doctor is called. That's what they are. And they both basically just said that I should do sort of like speech therapy. And I might actually look into a bit of that. And after this whole lockdown thing's over, I've got a couple of references to speech pathologists, I think it is, who are also like singers and things themselves, so they can probably really give me some good advice on what to do. Pardon me. Oh, I'm going to be burping now for the rest of this fucking thing. Yeah, but it's one of those, like, it's like a nagging kind of injury, you know what I mean? If you play sports, you get to an age, which is, you know, kind of the age I'm at now, where like a lot of your injuries from your sports playing days carry over into your day-to-day life. And it's like, you know, I haven't played a game of footy for 5 or 6 years now, but I still have injuries from you know, that have accumulated over all of those years of playing, and they're probably never really going to go away. The fuck was that? Was that wind? I think that was wind that just made my window kind of crack a bit. I don't know if that picked up, but anyway, it's alright. I got weapons and knives and all that sort of shit all around me, so if it is somebody at my window, they're probably the biggest mistake they're ever going to make in their life if they're going to try and break in here. Speaking of knives, I've been singing Delilah all day. Tom Jones. Why, Delilah? I say speaking of knives because, of course, it's a song about, I think it's a song about a woman being murdered, right? I saw the knife in her back as I passed by the window, something like that, I think it is. And I've been kind of rearranging the lyrics a little bit, putting a bit of a Maddie flavour on the lyrics, which I won't share with you because they're very violent kind of lyrics, reminiscent of some of the lyrics in Eminem's Marshall Mathers LP with some of his songs. Very, very graphic, very violent, but you know, I'm just singing it around the house to myself, and nobody knows about it, and that's. We'll just leave it at that. What else happened today? I watched a movie from the year 1995, and so we're talking about a movie that's like, what's that, 25 years old, right? And it's a movie that I've heard of, never watched before today, but because it's a movie from so long ago and I had heard of it, I figured it was going to be a good movie. How wrong I was. The name of the movie is Moonlight and Valentino. It's a bit of a, I think they called it a romantic comedy in the guide. Starring Whoopi Goldberg's in it. The main so the story is like this woman. I kind of missed the start of it, but I picked up what was going on during the movie. This woman, her husband died in an accident or something like that, and so it basically just follows this woman who, I can't even remember the actress's name, and I don't think she ever really went on to do a whole lot of things. And it just sort of charts her kind of, I don't know, recovery from, you know, or how she deals with now being a widow, I guess. So it's got this woman, who I can't remember. It's got a young Gwyneth Paltrow playing the sister of the main woman, who I can't remember. It's got Whoopi Goldberg playing the bestie of the woman who's the main character, and Kathleen Turner playing the stepmom of the woman who I can't remember, and Gwyneth Paltrow. And it also stars a young And look, maybe not too young. Actually, he's probably in his mid-30s. John Bon Jovi, in what I think might have been his first kind of acting role, and so I'm looking at it in the guide, and I see it there, and I'm like, oh, I've heard of this movie. Let's give it a watch. And I Wikipedia it just to kind of get a little bit of a backstory and a little bit of a chart on who's in the movie, and I see Bon Jovi, and I'm like, oh, right, yeah, okay, well, this will probably be pretty good. First of all, John Bon Jovi is hardly in the movie. He I think he really comes into it like in the last half hour of it. Like, so talk about like banking the success of this movie on one person who's barely in the movie. You know what I mean? But my review is pretty short and simple, pretty brief. The movie is rubbish, and I wasted 2 hours of my life watching this movie that I had. I won't say I had great expectations, but I just kind of expected a little bit better, given the fact that the movie is 25 years old and I had actually heard of it before. I thought it might have been alright, and it wasn't. It was fucking rubbish and had like the worst ending. None of it really kind of, flowed very well. I mean, not that I'm a fucking director or anything like that, but look, I reckon if I was given this script, first of all, I would have rewritten the script, and I think I could have done a much better job with no experience directing a movie than the guy who directed it. I can't remember his name, but it's probably someone like James Cameron, who went on to fucking make Terminator, and well, Terminator was before this movie, but anyway, I think it was a director that I'd never really heard of before, so hopefully he's not wasting his time making any more movies. I bet if I looked him up, it'll say he's won like 4 Academy Awards for Best Director or some shit like that, and they'll probably be movies that I love. Anyway, but this one, Moonlight and Valentino, to quote Molly Meldrum, do yourself a favour and don't watch this movie. And I think that's a pretty good place to end hang on, is it day 39? It's day 40. Did I say it was day 39 at the start? Because I'm looking at my little light board here, which has 39, which would be yesterday's fucking show. No, I did say it was day 40 at the start, didn't I? Anyway, fuck, I kind of ended that Moonlight and Valentino thing pretty well. Could have seamlessly kind of gone into a nice ending to this thing. And as usual, got distracted and went off the rails. So this has been day 40, though, of the Non-Essential Podcast. Doing this every day. Initially, until Lockdown 2 was over, but now we're only doing it until this Sunday. So we've got 2 more days. Oh, pardon me. We've got 2 more days, and then I'm out of here. But I'll chat to yous all tomorrow on day 41. And I'll leave you with a bit of a teaser for tomorrow's episode. It's not really a positive one either. It's a bit of a sad one. Some sad news that I have to deliver tomorrow to you if you're listening. So look out for that. It's not anything that I'm going to need comforting over or anything like that. So don't worry about me. I'm all good, and I will be good. But some of you might be disappointed. Yeah, and I'll leave it at that. So catch you tomorrow.